Hey, what's happening, y'all? In this week's episode, we've got legendary front of house engineer Dansir McCullough. We're going to get some life advice from the keyboardist of Cool Runnings, the reggae band. We're going to talk about merch, and we got a few other things, so stick around. Oh, and this week's episode is brought to you by GigGear.com, makers of the award-winning gig gloves and the newly released two-hand touch. Head over to gig-gear.com. Use the code ROADIE when you check out. Get yourself 15% off. That's gig-gear.com to get yourself 15% off when you use the code ROADIE.
Call yourself a roadie. Call yourself a roadie.
All right. What's happening, roadies? Welcome to episode number 94. My guest this week is Dansir McCullough, legendary veteran roadie and front of house engineer Dansir McCullough. Good dude. We'll get to him in just a second. But first, my friends, I want to thank you for tuning in. For those of you lifers that have been with me for a while, I love you. Couldn't be here, wouldn't be here, wouldn't want to do it without you. And for you newbies checking in, it's nice to have you as well. Welcome onto the bus, as they say. So listen. There are a lot of birthdays that happened this past week. And for all those people that I didn't wish a specific happy birthday to, I want to wish you one now. Happy birthday. I hope you had a fantastic week. Then I hope you are well. But there's one gentleman in particular that I just really wanted to give a shout out to from all of us here at Roadie Free Radio. Because, my buddy, I wouldn't be here in some weird way without you and what you do to one of my all-time favorite guitar players probably in the world, okay? His touch, his tone, it affects me. To my man, Mr. Mark Ford, I want to wish you a happy birthday, all right? We are looking forward to the album you got coming out with the Magpie Salute. We can't wait to see you this spring and summer on tour with the Magpie. If you don't know who Mark Ford is, he is probably the seminal lead guitarist for the Black Crowes. He was the guy. There are a lot of guys with the Black Crowes, but he's the guy who made the big mark. He's the one by which all other Black Crowes guitarists have been measured. And that is the truth right there that I speak. So happy birthday, Mark. Can't wait to see you, buddy. I wanted to give you guys an update on something that's going on. I got a few. It was a lot of love thrown at Roadie Free Radio this week. A lot of love, and I appreciate it all. Got a couple of emails from some folks just saying, hey, love the show, listen to it all the time. What's up with the Got Roadies t-shirts? It looks like all your merch is sold out. When do we get more Got Roadies t-shirts? So let me tell you a couple things about that. First of all, I cannot, for those of you old enough to remember, let's put it this way. For those of you old enough to remember, there was the Got Milk campaign, maybe almost 20 years ago now, something like that. And that's what I sort of used. Everybody's used a Got Something ripoff of that. And that is clearly what I did years ago when my first short film, Roadie, came out. That was my t-shirt that I had going out there. And that's what led me to Doug Redler, many 13 years later, that have started this show and all that kind of stuff. So I was offering the shirt, but in good conscience and a smart businessman, I couldn't actually sell the shirt without running the risk of getting in some big trouble. So what ended up happening was I made a bunch of the shirts. I sold one, literally, and the rest I just started giving out to promote the show and whatnot. And then I just started giving them out to people that were guests on the show. So that's sort of the avenue that I went with that, right? It's like if you were a guest on the show, you were going to get a Got Roadie shirt. I'm still kind of sticking to that. The Roadie Free Radio shirts, I just legitimately sold out of those, and people bought those, and it was great, and I thank you so much. I have not updated any new merch because, quite frankly, I'm just financially tapped out. The NAMM experience back in January, I guess that was January already, whoa, that sort of depleted the funds, and so I'm still building back up and, trying to get some sponsorship on board to be able to take care of some things like merch, and I want to do a little redesign of the Roadie for Radio shirt. So that's what's happening there, but I thank you guys for your interest. Now, here's the thing. I do want to hear from you because I don't want to just offer shirts and, stupid things that you can't use. I want to be able to provide you guys with stuff that you're going to want to use, that you're going to want to buy, and that will make your life, a little easier, a little cooler, a little hipper. So hit me up at info@roadiefreeradio.com. Let me know if there's something in particular you think that I should do, a cup, a mug, a travel thermos, something like that. Long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, whatever it is. I want to hear from you. info@roadiefreeradio.com. That's the deal with the merch. You don't want me getting sued. I mean, all press is good press, even bad press. Let's not forget that. Also, I just got a Facebook message from a guy named Lee Beat in Birmingham in the UK. Reached out and said he and his family are big fans. They never miss an episode. And would I give him a shout out? Well, Lee Beat and your family, Lee Beat Anthony, something like that. My man, it's great to have you here, bub. And I love you. And I'm glad you're listening, mate. All right. That was an awful attempt at an English accent. I could do much better, but I'm not going to. He got the message. Also, stay tuned this week. I'm going to be dropping a Roswell Delphos unboxing of a very cool microphone. They sent me a mic to check out. There might even be a t-shirt in there. I think he mentioned something about hooking me up with a t-shirt. So the Roswell Delphos we get unboxed on our YouTube channel. Check it out. Speaking of YouTube, don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, which you can do, friends, I only do the intros, and then you got to head over to SoundCloud or to the website, roadiefreeradio.com, to check out the entire episode. Finally, there was a lot of contact this week talking to people. Finally, I wanted to pass along something. I talked to a young gentleman earlier this week or last week, I guess, by the time this episode comes out last week, who goes to the same college that I went to, St. Lawrence University, small school, way up in the middle of nowhere in Canton, New York. And he was lamenting the fact that he's a big film buff, much like I was, and he just couldn't wait to get out of school. He felt like he was trapped there, and he couldn't, do any filming and follow his dream. I went through the same exact thing 20 years ago. It's funny that the school hasn't quite caught up with what people want to do as filmmakers. But here's what I told him, and here's something that sort of worked for me, got me through that experience. And I'm telling you this for the people out there that I see on a lot of these message boards that feel like they want to get into audio, they want to get into film, they want to get into sound, they want to do something, and they feel trapped because where they are or where they are from or the resources that they have immediately in front of them seem limiting. So when I was at school, I lived up there for the summer, and I got to know this guy that was the keyboardist for Cool Runnings, the reggae band. Apparently, they moved up there for the summer to find a quiet place where they could live in a house, do some recording, do some rehearsing, whatnot. They had a big tour or something. I don't even remember what they were doing up there, but they were there. And I kind of became friendly with the keyboardist. And I was telling him about how, I wanted to be an actor and I was frustrated up there and I wanted to get out and blah, blah, blah. And he said, you can't, I'm not even going to try to do a Rastafarian accent, so just forget it. So what he said to me was, no matter where you are, you can find a way to do what it is that you love to do. For me as an actor, he was like, go do a monologue to that bush and do it until you know that monologue inside and out and you think you can make that bush cry, right? With how deep you can get on it. Same thing with music. Same thing with everything else. And I was just thinking a lot about it. And I was thinking a lot about, where we are today with technology and whatnot, and the power of the different types of things you can do on a cell phone, for example. You can record stuff on a cell phone, audio-wise and film-wise, audio and film-wise, right? Video-wise. We have these things right at our disposal. And pretty much everybody, no matter how damn broke you are, you've got a phone that can take a picture, it can record audio, and it can record video. So I told this kid this, and I said, pick up a camera, start shooting, be the guy that everybody else wants to go to because you're the one guy doing it. And I wanted to bring that up here on this show because, people always write in and they ask, where do I go to do audio? I can't, afford to go to school or blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of places to go do it, and even Dansir was talking about it. I think we talked about it in the episode, go to your local church, go to a local bar, go to a local nightclub, whatever it is, coffee house, and learn from somebody, call somebody, email somebody. Everybody is so accessible today that you can find it. If you need inspiration to go do it, hell, listen to the people on this show. That's why I do this show, to share a lot of these people's inspiring stories. Head back to episode 20, Fayla Davis. She didn't have resources where she lived. She drove, I think it was 2.5 to 3 hours each way to go to the nearest House of Blues so she could make $65 a night wrangling cables and learning from the ground up. She had a second job deboning chickens, for God's sakes, to pay for her ability to go to Full Sail so she could learn her craft. There are ways to do it. And if you get stuck and you can't find another way, or you just don't know, or you need a path, my email is info@roadiefreeradio.com. Write me. Tell me what it is that you want to do. If it's in the field of audio or even in film, whatever it is, and I will try to make an inroad for you with somebody or give you some advice on how to get a little further. Because, again, there's no reason in 2018 that you should feel blocked, that you can't follow your dream. Because, hey, maybe even one day you could be doing a podcast in a barn in Northwest Connecticut. You know what I'm talking about? All right, listen, Dansir McCullough. This dude came to me through our mutual friend, Night Bob, who you all remember and know, the legendary Night Bob. Crossed paths with Mr. David Dansir McCullough, and he's got an awesome story, man. Dansir's got an awesome story. Known for his work with Ted Nugent from 1976 through 1984, he's been with Aerosmith, John Waite, Ace Frehly, Vinnie Vincent, Billy Thorpe, Triumph, Alex Cooper, Pat Benatar, Bad English, Gladys Knight, Cheap Trick, Billy Idol, Man the Tubes. It goes on and on. Ran away from home, got on the road in 1968 at the ripe old age of 17 years old. I can't believe it. It actually makes me jealous. And for the past 20 years, he has been the house sound engineer for the past 20 years at the Devos Performance Hall in Grand Rapids, Michigan, mixing the Grammy-nominated Grand Rapids Symphony. The guy is awesome. He has a lot to say. He also spent 11 and a half years as the president of the Stagehands Local 26 IATSE. Great guy. We had a great chat. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. I think you're going to like it. You're going to laugh. You're going to chuckle. Some good stories. All right? He talks about respect. He talks about passion. It's all in there. It's what everybody's looking for in the person that they want to help, and it's what you got to have to succeed. All right? You understand? Listen, I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Next week, my buddy Byron Isaacs, bass player for the Lumineers, is going to be on the show, and I know what you're thinking, but he's not a roadie. No, he's not. But he's a hell of a nice guy, and I can't wait to have him on the show, and I think you're going to dig what the man has to say. All right? But right now, we are going to get some worldly advice from our good friend, Mr. Dansir McCullough.